Do you think Bishop Noel Jones is a man of God or someone who causes trouble? His loud voice and powerful presence in a shiny robe have captivated thousands of people at his megachurch in California. He is about to hear some terrible news that will rock his world, and the future of this spiritual giant is in danger. Will Bishop Jones's strong faith help him deal with this new problem? What secrets does this mysterious boss have hidden behind his smooth exterior? Please join us as we share the very sad news about Bishop Noel Jones. Early life and family history. Noel's new life in Syracuse was complicated. It was full of chances and problems that would have a big effect on his soul and personal growth. It wasn't easy to go from the lively atmosphere of Jamaica to the calm atmosphere of upstate New York. He had to deal with harsh winters, the difference in culture between Jamaica and the United States, and the difficulty of getting used to a new school. These challenges tested his drive and toughness in a way that would pay off in the long run. Many of Noel's peers had very different upbringings than he did. He was very aware of this at his Syracuse high school. It was hard to describe who they were because they had Jamaican roots and lived in upstate New York. At school, Noel had to deal with being respected and ignored at the same time. People in some of his classes knew they lived in a very different world because of who they were. Others, on the other hand, saw him as just another kid who was trying too hard to be someone he wasn't. During his childhood, Noel went through a lot of hard times, but he found comfort in the church. The moral support his father gave him was a strong foundation in his life that helped him stay strong when things got tough. The family started going to an apostolic church in San Diego after they moved there. In the same way that Noel and his family were accepted into the congregation they now called home, the early Christians in the book of Acts built their communities. The Noels felt like they belonged from the very first service they went to. When Noel started to take on leading roles in the church, his spiritual journey became even more serious. He planned events for young people, led prayer meetings, and helped younger people in the community. All of these things not only strengthened his faith, but they also made him feel responsible and like a leader. He started to see a future where he could serve God and be the kind of leader he had always looked up to while he was on this road. In the end, Noel answered his call. He chose to go to a nearby college and spent a lot of time studying religion and the complicated art of pastoral care. It would be too easy to say that he made this change without any problems, because Noel had already lived in the camp of cultural adaptation, where problems are common and joys are somehow increased. Still, this neighborhood college definitely sparked the vital elan that is his faith and worked in a way that led him to the life of service he now lives. As young Noel Jones got used to life in the United States, he had no idea that his trip would soon take a very different turn. There were secrets in the busy streets of Syracuse that would change his life. What problems did this Jamaican move into his new home find that he didn't expect? Let's find out. Going to the United States and going to school. According to Noel Jones, going from Jamaica to the United States was the first point in a long line of amazing changes. The contrast between Jones's childhood in the warm, earthy comforts of pastures and his rise from his father's humble job as a farmer to the pulpit, as well as the simple life of yard and house in his current architecturally modern church in Syracuse, has shaped his sound into a warm, rich, reverberating word sound that speaks deeply to strong, simple, home-cooked truths. When Noel was 19, his life changed in a big way. He got a strong, clear call to serve in ministry. This wasn't just a selfish wish from his youth, it was a strong conviction that has shaped who he is and what he wants to do with his life. This call could have also turned into one of those "it's only my first year of college" stories, but instead, Noel took it in stride and jumped right into the challenges of getting ready for service. He signed up for Anon Bible College and not only agreed with, but also asked for the tough academic requirements. He tried to learn more about religion and what it means for the present day. At Anon Bible College, Noel built a strong intellectual and spiritual base for his future work. He worked hard to get a Bachelor of Science in theology and read more than just the most basic parts of the Bible. Not enough colleges and teachers lead their kids down this path. The first church Noel led as pastor was Bethel Temple, a small one in East Texas. He was 26 years old at the time. At the time, not many people would have thought that that little church would become the place where Noel's ministry was formed. He began to preach in a way that was all his own, but also clearly showed the influence of both his father and the Anon experience. I wouldn't say that his lectures were good, they changed my life. Noel Jones's story starts out in poverty and ends up in a position of great power and respect in the pulpit. It's the kind of story that happens in many country churches. The thing that really makes Jones great as a preacher and pastor is his ability to connect the Bible to the everyday lives of his community. But this trip for Jones and the people he meets is about a lot more than the kind of personal success that many success stories are about. Jones came from the son of a preacher on a small island country in the Caribbean. He made it to the United States and quickly became one of the most powerful people there. He says that a big part of the reason he was able to do it was the schooling he got. First once in Jamaica and now here. His first job was as a minister in a church for a few years. More recently, he has been a reality TV pastor to a congregation of millions of people. That was before the pandemic, which sent his group into people's homes around the world. Starting ministry and leadership, Noel Jones's speech echoed through the walls of Bethel Temple in Longview, Texas, making the church proud. His powerful talks, which mixed old and new parts of the Bible, made church leaders all over the state sit up and take notice almost every night. Their first thought was, how can we get him to come preach at our church? Bethel Temple in Longview was good, but not great. This is what the church leaders across the state thought. The Greater Bethany Church had been around for a while before Jones became pastor. It's so strong that it could even be called well-established. Who would have thought that it would grow so quickly? Jones didn't just preach words, he also preached the Spirit. His presence in the pulpit electrified the audience in a way that nothing else had before. People from all walks of life, including students, workers, and families, started showing up in droves to hear this new pastor. Some drove hours just to hear him. In no time, the church was very full, and some people even spilled out into the garden inside, where they stayed. Around 100 people listened to the sermon through speakers, and another 100 or so did it through the drive-in church way. But Jones wasn't happy with just getting more people to come. He wanted to build a real community. He wanted to make sure that Greater Bethany was a place where people could get both spiritual guidance and help with the important problems that many of us face every day. Under his direction, the church made a lot of different outreach projects for people who were homeless, addicts, and teens who were in danger. This made Jones more well-known as the church grew. Some might say it was a good idea for him to start appearing on national Christian TV shows, since he has something important to say and delivers it in an interesting way. There were the usual problems that came up as the church grew quickly. Jones had to get along with people at church. As the staff grew, he had to handle them. He also had to take care of the needs of a group that was growing quickly, while also going on his own spiritual journey. He stayed up late some nights, reading the Bible and asking God for showing him the way, so he could make the tough choices that came with being a leader. Jones never lost sight of the main goal that got him there in the first place, even when he was under a lot of stress. Helping people connect deeply with their religion was his North Star, and he stayed true to it. Greater Bethany Community Church was becoming more than just a growing community under the direction of Noel Jones. It was growing into the center of a movement that would change modern Christianity and make Jones one of the most important religious figures of his time. As the community of Greater Bethany, church did well under Noel Jones's direction, but a new problem was coming up. The group had grown too big for its walls, but could Jones's idea go beyond the limits of a single church? What pretty big change was about to happen? City of Refuge Church. When Noel Jones took over as pastor of the Greater Bethany Community Church in 1994, he found a small group of about 1,000 people, most of whom were African American. In the years since then, though, the church has gone through an amazing change under his guidance. The Refuge has been improved and made bigger, and there are now more people. Now, not just in South Los Angeles, but all over the Los Angeles area, the lectures reach an even bigger group of people. In 2003, there had to be a change. Jones and his co-workers began looking for a better place to work. In Gardena, California, they found a place that would eventually make their hopes and dreams come true. Moving the church wasn't just a change of address, it was like a new beginning for the whole church, almost like it had changed its character. The church kept its old name, but the move gave it a new mission to be a safe place for people who are looking for spiritual healing. The new building was truly impressive. It was built to hold the now 17,000-strong community. But it wasn't just its size that made it stand out. There was a lot of careful planning that went into every part of the City of Refuge. Even the sound system was designed so that the pastor's orders to unleash the church could be heard clearly. The City of Refuge had gospel and growth written all over it, from the sound system to the seats. Under the leadership of the Reverend James H. Jones, the City of Refuge was more than just a place of prayer. It was also a kind of community center where people could do everyday things. There were a lot of programs, and many of them offered help with things like getting a job and recovering from drugs. The church, which was open every day, was a place for hope and a way to get there. The City of Refuge music mission stood out and was impressive. As a result, the City of Refuge Sanctuary Choir became well known in the world of gospel music, which is not often seen in church choirs, even ones as skilled as the City of Refuge Sanctuary Choir. The choir's first record, Welcome to the City, came out in 2007. It was a big hit with gospel music fans who go to church, and it even made it to the top of the charts. It did pretty well on the Billboard 200 and the Billboard Gospel Albums chart, which means that even more people who don't usually pray in that way like this gospel experience. Even more people found out about the City of Refuge in Jones because of how well the choir did. This Gardena church was suddenly in news all over the world, not just in California. People from all over the country and the world started to notice the amazing things that were happening because Jones was in charge. Being on Preachers of LA changed the way Bishop Noel Jones was known in 2013. That was the first year that the reality TV show Preachers of LA aired, showing how the lives of 6 famous preachers in Los Angeles. Jones already had a big following in the church world and a smaller following in the general world. This was a huge stage for him. He knew he was taking a risk by going on the show, giving the cameras a look into his life, and the life of his church might create an unflattering picture of him, but it would also help him reach people who might never have come into his church otherwise. When the trailer for Preachers of LA came out on October 9, 2013, it was clear that this isn't your average reality show. As with most shows like this, the idea was based on a level of closeness that isn't usually seen in church settings. Dietrich Haddon, the main character of Preachers of LA, had cameras follow him to his big church at the City of Refuge and to his quiet home life, where he and his wife Dominique showed an ideal, if not typical, family dynamic. Haddon, more than any other preacher on the show, had the most to lose in terms of his public image. He was the most scandalous speaker in many ways. The show also caused a lot of trouble. Faith and theater were mixed together, and it also led to debates about the meaning and value of prosperity theology, a controversial branch of modern Christianity, if you haven't heard of it. According to this idea, having faith will make you rich. I can easily explain how this setup helped preachers of Allah become so popular. Once I do that, I'll talk about some cultural reasons why it might have done so well. There was a fair amount of abuse that came with fame. People who didn't like the show said it painted the pastors in too positive a picture by focusing on their money and the business side of their jobs instead of their faith. Also, they questioned whether or not putting. In reality TV, there are religious leaders. Jones found the chance to be on a show that people all over the world watched to be both exciting and hard. He told a reporter, "I had to reveal parts of my life and ministry that I had never talked about before. It caused me to reflect on the connections between faith and fame and how the two can be lived out in a way that is real and truthful." There is no denying that preachers of late started to talk about faith and how it is practiced in homes. It brought attention to the topic of pastors like Dietrich Haddon, who are not only religious leaders, but also people who are going through the same kinds of problems that most people do. Style of preaching and public speaking. Bishop Noel Jones gives more than just a sermon from the platform. He creates a spiritual experience. His unique way of teaching has fans all over the world, and for good reason. A lot of people have heard of this community leader of the city of Refuge Church in Los Angeles because of his sermons. Why? Jones combines hard-to-understand religious ideas with easy-to-understand advice that kids and maybe even some adults can understand. It's clear from even a quick listen to any Jones lecture that simple does not mean shallow. Jones sometimes goes into more detail about the old Greek or Hebrew words in the Bible. His knowledge makes the pictures he paints of the not-so-distant past stand out even more. In other situations, he is known for telling stupid jokes that always make people laugh out loud. Jones's energy is hard to miss when she's on stage. He doesn't really talk, but he does things. People in the room lean in as he changes the pitch of his voice and adds a few minutes of almost complete silence as punctuation or corner turns. Jones has an impact that goes far beyond what he preaches. Jones has a lot of influence over people, and it's likely that his writing is the main reason why people come to him for advice. His books Real Talk for Real Times and Battle for the Mind hit the ground running when they talk about tough topics. They help people figure out what the right thing to do is in a world that is often morally unclear. Jones's style carries a lot of weight the whole time. Whether he's giving advice in person, in lectures, or through books. Being on TV shows like Ministers of Defense has helped Jones connect with an even bigger audience. He is naturally good at acting, which made him a fan favorite right away. Many people watched just to hear his point of view. A silent fight was going on inside Bishop Noel Jones's body, while his powerful sermons continued to inspire thousands. The man who seemed unbeatable from the pulpit was up against a task that could have made him lose his voice. Could this be the end of his work as a minister? Health problems and the future of ministry. The city of Refuge Church was shocked when their beloved and longtime leader, Bishop Noel Jones, told them he was having major health problems, especially with his heart. The news was met with stunned silence. No one could have imagined that Jones was seriously sick because he was a strong speaker and leader who looked great. Jones made it clear that he had surgery to fix a problem with his heart. The heart beats too fast because of the atrial flutter. This was the crux of the matter and helped explain why he had been appearing tired and worn down despite projecting a strong presence while performing on stage. And yes, his busy schedule did make his health problems worse, but it wasn't the only reason. Years of staying up all night to write sermons and serve a big church had finally caught up with him. The doctors told him to rest after surgery. Jones says that one person said, "You can't serve God and not rest." Jones's appearance on the reality TV show Preachers of LA made things more complicated. Even though this show made him more well-known and famous, it also made his already stressful life even worse. Jones said it was possible that this extra worry was making his health problems worse. As word spread about his health, many people inside and outside of the church began to wonder what would happen to his position as head at the city of Refuge. Would he give up? Would he give up? Would he keep working as a minister? A lot of feelings and fears were stirred up by these questions. Jones stayed even though there was a lot of doubt, fully committed to his job. He told people the truth about the problems he was having and how they were making it hard for him to teach. He was honest about his health problems, which made his peers admire him even more. This event also sparked important talks about the stress religious leaders feel and the need for them to take care of themselves. Even though everyone in the City of Refuge Church prayed for their leader, Noel Jones, that didn't make him feel better. He kept preaching with the same energy and excitement that he always has. For people who go to his lectures, it probably would have made even more sense to wonder how he stayed so fervent when things were so bad. At some point, many parishioners have probably wished they had a little more bishop energy. On the other hand, that has nothing to do with the main point, which is Bishop Noel Jones teaching the Bible as he always has. Relationship with Sister Grace Jones. Grace Jones and Bishop Noel Jones may look very different, but they are connected by a strong family bond and a powerful story that mixes respect, love, faith, and even a little fame in a way that is both neat and shocking. There is a new twist on the old rags to riches story in theirs. Born in 1948, Grace Jones made a name for herself in the music world, specialty in the entertainment business. She got praise and attention for her two unique looks and her beautiful performances. She made art that was brave. From the Paris fashion shows to a few roles in the James Bond movies, she became a type of beauty. Noel Jones, on the other hand, found his calling in the church. He was a star in that world because of how powerfully he preached and how deeply he loved the Christian faith. Very different from the one his sister has. The brother and sister couldn't be more different from each other. Grace became a symbol of freedom and defiance because of her wild style and electrifying stage personality. Because Noel was more quiet and sang sad but sweet songs, he turned his sister's movement into a tradition of fatherly, if not downright matronly, advice and support. Noel and Grace's friendship can't be broken, even though they live very different lives. Noel is so proud and happy when he talks about his big sister. He admits that she has a big impact on people by calling her such a diva. On the pop culture world. How much of an impact Grace has can be seen in the huge number of fans she still has today. The link between these two characters shows us how to accept and understand others. There is a culture where picking one side over another is normal. They show a different way for people to live together, where they can still love and support each other, even though they have taken different paths. Family and personal life. Bishop's family and personal life. A lot of people are interested in and even suspicious of Noel Jones and his connection with Loretta. What kind of bond they have been keeping secret for what seems like an age, keeping many people at Jones's church and the public in the dark. But Jones and Loretta together are so powerful that they have become a kind of church and public interest event. With his powerful sermons and equally strong looks, Bishop Noel Jones doesn't lack for public presence either. Plus, he is the leader of the City of Refuge Church. It's not easy to give an answer. Jones was previously married, but that marriage did not work out well and hurt him. About the television show Preachers of L.A. Jones almost shed tears when he talked about his split from Bishop Ron Gibson. His words showed how deeply he feels the pain of what happened and how far he and Loretta have come in thinking about what they want to do next in their lives together. They have been through the hard times of their lives together in public for almost 30 years, but they have put off the big step of getting married. Loretta has become well known in the world of food, both as a partner and as a person with her own exciting job. She was born and raised in Pine Hill, Alabama, and finished with a Bachelor of Arts from the University of Alabama in 2001. In New York City, she lived for a while and graduated from the French Culinary Institute, which is now part of the International Culinary Center. There, she also worked at the restaurant Bully, which has a Michelin star. When she got back to Alabama, she opened a restaurant. After that, she became a chef, which is what she does now. Jones didn't make this choice easily. He gave it a lot of thought after reading what the Bible says about marriage, divorce, and getting married again. He picked to marry Loretta after living with her for almost 30 years. He must have given this a lot of thought. As Bishop Noel Jones and Loretta started their new life together as husband and wife, there was a question in the air: what would this amazing man's life and mission mean in the long run? How would Bishop Jones's impact affect the future of faith, given that he is about to have health problems? The legacy and effects. Bishop Noel Jones has had a huge impact on our faith and on the world around us. People all over the world hear his powerful speeches at the City of Refuge Church and on TV. His words and his love for people make them powerful. He asks people to think more deeply about what they believe because his ideas are so deep. Jones is a bishop, and he is a Pentecostal bishop. You can be spiritual and smart at the same time. The City of Refuge Church has grown a lot while he has been in charge. The building that is now a big church was once very small, but now it is more than that. It is a place of hope. Jones, the founder and head of the church, is well known in and around Atlanta. He is well known in the media and uses it to reach more people, kind of like the leader of a big church would. His reason for wanting to help the poor and addicts is very interesting, and he's not afraid to share it, as you might expect from someone who used to be a real-life TV news reporter. Jones gives readers a mix of spiritual knowledge and useful tips for dealing with the things that will happen in life. While he is gone, his writing works will still be used as getting ideas. A lot of preachers in this country look up to Jones as an example because he cares about social justice and loves the gospel. People in the public eye, like actor Lisa Ray McCoy, have said that Jones helped them understand the Bible's hard ideas. The documentary Hoover Street Revival by Sophie Fiennes shows Bishop Noel Jones's work and the lively community he leads. The movie not only Jones's charismatic and powerful way of speaking, but it also shows the spirit and sense of community that made his church what it was. Jones is thinking about what he will do in the future when his health problems are over. The inspiring life he has lived in and out of the pulpit will be a strong spiritual impact for those who come after him, a long time after. Even though he is no longer with us, his wise words and the church he built will live on in both the real and digital worlds. Thanks for seeing. Just click the like button, leave some nice comments, and don't forget to follow for more cool videos. The movie you're looking at now is an interesting one. Click on it to see another one.